Good afternoon, happy stampers, and welcome to my HapBEE Stamping Studio, where every stamp tells a story and every project brings joy. Welcome. My name is Judy Anderson from judystamps.com, and I'd like to welcome my live viewers as well as those of you watching on replay. So another week has gone by, and we had a holiday weekend this last weekend here in the U.S. I hope everybody enjoyed it. And today we're using another new stamp set called Layered Thoughts. And, I was going through a bunch of my scraps and I found a bunch of circles. So, I decided I'm going to be using these and on my project this week and use some of them up, number one. And so I continue going through scraps and found some other pieces. And so that is what we are using, as well as with a base of basic white. So the Layered Thought stamp set is a stamp of 7 sentiment stamps, which I love. They are fun. There's so many things that you can be doing with this stamp set. In fact, I have a class that's coming up pretty soon. Actually, it's going to be released next month. And this is one of the stamp sets that we're going to be using in there. So we're going to be using that in addition to the dotted circles embossing folder. It's a 3D embossing folder. And I also have these Sunny Days iridescent dots that I thought would go well with this project. They're circles, they're bright and cheery. So the pieces that we'll be using is we have a card base. That's your standard bar card base here in the US. It measures 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, and I'm burnishing that score line well. Then we have a piece of basic black that I found in my black scraps, and it fits this card good. Here is a piece of granny apple green frame cut out. You can see the outside of the frame and then an inside frame, so it left me with this open frame. And then just a bunch of circles in different colors. So I just picked circles of similar sizes and decided I'm going with it. The basic, we're going to be stamping in Memento ink, basic black. And I am going to be using the thanks, or it says thank, and then the small U. I also have a scrap of basic white that we're going to be picked out some smaller pieces, and I do have some smaller ones that I'll try first and see how it goes. So I thought, well, if I just put these on, it'd be fun, but a little boring. But you beginners, if you have a bunch of circles, this is a great way to start. Until you can get your cut and emboss machine and your embossing folders. Now, I'm going to set these on here, and I am just going to put them on here every which way. I want them to be embossed differently. So and the bumps are up, so this is going to be the front, and since these all have stitching on them, I am going to make sure that they are placed up. And since they are smaller, I'm going to place them towards the center. So I'm going to pull this one out a little bit. And we have these 4 around the center. I'm going to close that up. I can emboss all of these at one time. So let's get our cut and emboss machine out. I am going to be using the plate number 1 and the plate number 4 for 3D embossing folders. Got our machine here. I know it's pretty close. Okay, and then we're going to set our embossing folder on top of that, and then our number 4 mat. We're going to push that in until the handle moves, and once the handle moves, we're going to go ahead and crank it. And I'm going to move this so you can see it coming out the other side. And it should go through smooth as butter as long as you have the correct plates in there and the right sandwich. Okay, let's take these off and see how it changed our circles. I just love embossing folders. Like I said, they're all going to be a little bit different, but look how they all changed. Okay, got some gaps in some of them. This one reminds me of an Easter egg, but we have these, and that's going to add some more dimension to our card. Okay, let's close this up. I find that this card goes together rather quickly. I haven't decided which direction I'm going to go yet with this. Let me see. It's going to depend on which way the circles go. So I am going to put on my basic black mat first, and that is going to lie down flat. Now I could have embossed this too, and that would have added even more fun and dimension to it. But you don't see that much of it, I believe, by the time we get all these circles on here. So we're just going to go with this being flat like that. Now, our frame, you're going to notice that the frame is wider on this side than this side. I'm not worried about that. No sweating this. It's going to just be a fun card. I am going to actually raise this side because the Stampin' Dimensionals can fit onto this side of the frame and not show. And there is no rule that says that a particular piece on your card needs to be raised up all the way around, right? We can have this part raised and this part flat. So I'm going to go down the sides just a little bit, just to keep that raised portion there. Make sure it's okay. If it's going to show, actually, I'm going to come over here and grab my black Stampin' Dimensional. I'm going to grab my paper snips, grab these, and I'm just going to cut a very thin sliver because I'm only going to go halfway on each side. So I think that's going to be enough for both sides. Cut that in half. And it may not show, but just in case it did, I wanted to use the black. How many of you have done a project and only raised up part of a die or a layer? I find that people don't think as much of doing that. Okay, so we are going to put this on here, and I want to start laying my circles out. We're going to start with our large circles, decide which way this looks good. So I'm going to lay these on here. And nothing says that we have to stay within those black lines. Okay, this one I'm going to bring down so it's here and here. This one will be there and this one there. Now these are going to be flat because that side is flat. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down with my liquid glue. Now, oops, and I got stuck and squeezed a little bit too hard there. So remember, I was going to put this one this way. Now, you can also pay attention to the die, okay? You want that going in different directions. So we are going to put that one this way. And I'm going over the side here. And I'm going to do that one straight up and down. I want it to look different than this one. This one, I'm going to go straight this way. But I am going to have this go over the top of the frame. So I'm only going to glue this portion down. Okay, you'll see what I mean in a minute. I'm going to go over the top a little bit. Okay, so we have those three on. Next, we're going to put our frame on. And I want this one going over the top of the frame like that. So it's popping out. So we're going to add a dimensional underneath that side. I'm going to go for my larger dimensionals here. think one is going to be enough. Oops, and I want to put them down a little bit farther because that's going to go over the frame and we will glue it to the frame. Okay, so we're just going to hold that up. Now, this is where your silicone mat comes in handy. I'm going to hold that up and take my silicone mat and I'm going to slide it down. Okay, now we're going to remove all the pieces off of here. Get these off. Now these are so thin in the frame that I am not going to use my take your pick tool. And continue taking these off, going around the edge. And I'm not going to put glue on here until I get this set, because I know me and I will get the glue all over. So I'm going to slide that under until I get it where I want it. And this could even be crooked. It doesn't even have to be, let's do a crooked because we don't want everything uniform. Okay, now I'm going to remove my silicone mat and my frame will stick down and then this is going to stick down. Okay, so we've got those and see how that's popped up? That is because my dimensionals are hitting that frame. That's okay. I'm not worried about that. I'm going to hand deliver this card. Okay, and just put the glue right along there and then press and hold it for a second. Okay, so we have that. Now we're going to place these on here. And we're going to decide where we want them. Do we want them going beyond the frame? Do we want them under the frame? This one will go here. And this one will put here. Oh, I want the orange here. See? Now, once again, we're going to pay attention to the direction of these. We don't want them going in the same direction. So these are all going in the opposite direction, so that's great. I'm just going to put some glue on here and not centering them, hold them down for a minute. Because of the embossing, it may take a second for the glue to stick. Okay, hold that one down. Let's go ahead. I'm putting more glue on the flatter areas. Okay, once again, we want this one to go the opposite. Let's have this one tuck under a little bit. Make sure that's not quite glued down yet. So we can tuck that one under. And then this one will go on the top. Just gluing that there. Okay, now you're going to notice I'm keeping my circles to the outside edge. That's because my words are going to go towards the inside. Okay, hold those for a minute. Just push down. And we can get to our stamping. Set that to the side. We have these pieces here. Let's see if this one, oh, my think will fit on this one, so I don't have to use a big piece. Now, I want to ink this up really, really well. So I am going to press it this way. And I want to make sure that all those letters, a lot of black ink on them. When I stamp in black, I like it to be thick. Okay, we're going to put this here and just press. And hold it for a second so that that ink is absorbed into that white. And look at that. Isn't that cool? And look how nice and bold that is. Clean my stamp right away. Now we're going to do the U. We can do that on the smaller piece. This is the 1/2 inch cutoff from one of my pieces when I cut them down a 1/4 or a 1/2 inch in each direction. There you go for my 1/4 inch layers. I saved strips just for this purpose. Okay, so I want to just show you something. I'm just going to trim this off. And Now, if we were to take this and put it on just like this, it's going to cover up all those circles. We don't want to do that. So we're going to fussy cut around this. We're going to make this playful and fun. I just love making things that are fun looking. I remember when my children were young, they would take my scraps and just play with them and make all kinds of things. And that's before I was even, a stamper. I was just a paper crafter. And I love fonts like this. It reminds me of being in 6th grade. And we would all, I know some of you have heard this story already, but we would make our own name tags and we would do our letters all different, some bubble letters, some looking like balloons, some more like stick figures, but we just had so much fun making our nameplates. And I can remember to this day, my teacher just letting us have fun. And it was fun because when we came back after Christmas break, she would tell us, okay, this is a new year, we need new name tags. And we could spend one of our afternoons and we would make name tags and have so much fun. I remember this one student, Doug, loved lettering. And he was quite an artist, actually. And I don't know, when we were young, he actually moved to California, and I haven't heard from him since, but I'm sure he's doing something in art. So look at the difference there. Look at that thing. Without going too much detail there, thing. And then the U, I'm going to leave like this. I'm going to make a tag. I love tags. We're going to trim this down just a little bit and make a tag. Trim that a little bit. Even it up a little bit. And put that on like that. So we're just going to glue this on. Like that. I am loving this. And the only piece of cardstock that I cut was the baked card base. All the rest is scraps. So don't forget to go in your scrap bin and empty those scraps out every once in a while. So put this one right here. Hold that there for a second. I know I have some fun twines here. This was a 3-color pack. I'm not even sure if it's still in the catalog. Oh, you know what? No, I want to use black. But I do use things after they're retired because we all have them in our stash. You guys still need ways to use them, right? So here we go. I just think the black bow will look better. Okay. It's about the right size. Let's trim that off. Me grab my glue dots. And you know the trick. We pull the glue dot off and roll it up and make a circle. And put it on where we want our bow to go. Right there. Okay. Let's just hang this down right there. Press it. Okay. Well, now, this card is fun just the way it is. But let's the fun of this card. And it's not the same exact colors, but that's okay. So we can just put some of these all around wherever we want. I'm going to put a bunch of them on here. 1, 2. I like the big ones on here, I think. 3. Oh, let's put one. Oh, I don't want the pink one next to the pink down here. 4. And we'll do another orange one. And the orange one we'll put on the purple circle. 5. So we've got different size circles and the frame, and such a fun card. See how those glisten on there and just bring a lot of fun to this card. So I encourage you all to go into your scrap bins and see what you have in there and create a fun card like this. Be like a kid again and just take those scraps and make something. So until we meet again, everybody, happy stamping.